The lyrics were a little out of hand with that beat, so I'm just going to preclude that out of respect for my beautiful black sisters out there. I'm down with Mr. Jadakiss, but I'm not down with that particular lyric there. Peace and love, black family. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. UMAR Johnson, King Kong Consciousness International, Ifa Tunde, Real Monger, #1 black school psychologist, all-time top Pan-Africanist of the 21st century, #1 black orator alive, most requested scholar on earth of my race. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to keep you too long. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, marvelous June 6th. It is 6/6. So in honor of the number 6, which is the divine number of that aspect of supreme wisdom and consciousness that we refer to as Shango. Shango represents the 6. So in honor of Shango, I am wearing red and white to pay respect to the great Orisha of the thunder, of masculinity, of leadership, of nation building, of power. If we are really going to restore African greatness, if we are really going to restore African kingdom, if we are really going to rebuild the international government for African people, then we have to tap into the Shango energy. I am a son of Ogun, but as the Prince of Pan-Africanism, I occupy a Shango seat of power. Any black man in leadership occupies a Shango seat of power. So brothers and sisters, I want to talk about the latest news. I'm sure you all have heard it. Kim Kardashian with her celebrity political shenanigans with Donald Trump, her fellow reality show turned political star. It was announced today that Donald Trump would be granting clemency to Alice Johnson. Many of you know that Alice Johnson is the Queen Mother who was imprisoned in 1997 on charges of drug conspiracy. From what I understand, she never actually handled drugs, but she simply participated in communications between drug dealers. And as a result of that, she was convicted and sentenced to life without parole for drug conspiracy. A grandmother. That's what the American criminal injustice system will do to an elderly black woman. That's what they will do to a queen mother in our community. They sentenced this grandmother, Alice Johnson, to life without parole in 1997 on so-called drug conspiracy charges. So she's been in prison, okay, for approximately 20 years now. And then all of a sudden, a privileged white girl married to a black hip-hop celebrity, a privileged white girl by the name of Kim Kardashian married to a coonish black hip-hop icon, Kanye Kardashian. The wife of Kanye Kardashian, Miss Kimmy, decides that she wants to take up and champion the cause of Miss Alice Johnson. So a few days ago, Kim Kardashian, the wife of Kanye Kardashian, goes to the White House on the invitation of the president's son-in-law. She meets with the president's son-in-law. She meets with the president himself. And all of a sudden, miraculously today, Donald racist Trump out of nowhere, a man who has been saying despicable, disgusting, deplorable, unprofessional, and outright nasty things about black people and African people since he became president, all of a sudden out of nowhere, this white racist is automatically overtaken by compassion, and he decides to grant clemency to Miss Alice Johnson. Now, obviously, there's more to the story. No Donald Trump is going to wake up out of nowhere. Here's a man who wanted athletes arrested for not standing for the anthem. So a man who would go so far as to say he want professional football players arrested for not standing for the anthem, all of a sudden he goes 365 degrees, does a complete circle, and the same racists who wanted athletes drugged by their necks off the field, his words, not mine, he wanted athletes drugged off the field by their necks. Now all of a sudden he is struck with a sense of compassion for elderly black women. And he has a conversation with privileged white woman Kim Kardashian. And these two privileged white racists, Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump, come together, and he decides that something Kim Kardashian whistled in his ear or flirted with him in private, or whatever the case may be, he decides to grant clemency to this black grandmother after 21 years. If you believe that shit, then I need to be giving you an IQ test. If you believe that fake, false-ass narrative, then I need to be giving you an IQ test, brothers and sisters. I told you, the white man is an evil genius. I told you, he is a master of bait and switch. I've told you that confusing African people, confusing the victim, making us think and feel that the system is beginning to change you right before it exterminates you. They love for black folks to start believing in the system. They use your hope as a weapon. And once you begin to believe in the system, that gives the system time to concoct another extermination agenda before you can wake up, smell the coffee, and realize exactly what is going on. This was nothing but another bait and switch. So while y'all hanging, crucifying Bill Cosby, crucifying Tavis Smiley, crucifying Chris Brown, crucifying Morgan Freeman, we're going to let out this old black grandmother bait and switch and distract everyone with the little black grandmother who we left out of jail, even though we're literally about to sentence Bill Cosby to life. This is nothing but games. This is nothing but games. But because I know some of you have a low IQ, because I know some of you have a low political IQ, not intellectual IQ, but you have a low political IQ. Your mastery and understanding of white supremacist tactics is not where it needs to be. So I'm going to make sure you understand, and overstand what this latest Kardashian Trump stunt was all about. I'm going to make sure you understand, and overstand what this latest Kardashian Trump stunt was all about. Facts. Facts. We dealing in facts, brothers and sisters. So, what have I always told you all? What have I always educated you on? I told you this in Africa. I told you this in China. I told you this in Japan. I told you this in England. I told you this in France. I told you this in the Netherlands. I told you this in Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Jamaica, Bermuda. You don't listen. And I've told you that every white person has a black pet project. They always find some one individual black person to give their attention to. They always find some one individual black issue to give their attention to, while totally ignoring the systemic nature of white racism, white discrimination, white bias, white inequality. Let me say it again. White folks will find one small black person, one black agenda item to give all their money to and all their time to and all their attention to, while they ignore the much larger and much more critical systemic nature of white racism, white bias, white injustice, white inequity, white inequality. So what's going here is you have Kim Kardashian, who found this one black grandmother. One. She found one black person. Now, there's millions of us in jail, but she found one. And by the way, I want to clarify. To Queen Mother Alice Johnson, I am so glad you are out of prison. I don't care how you got out. I'm glad you're out. Just like I'm glad Queen Mother Assata Shakur is out of prison. I don't care how she got out. I'm glad she's out. And shout out to my Cuban brothers and sisters. I finally heard back from my Cuban Baba Lao today. Okay? Baba, my padrino down in Cuba. So I will be going back to Cuba. In fact, I'm going to be putting together a trip for Cuba. So if you're ready to go to Afro-Rican land, not Rican, but Afro-Cuban land, Afro-Spanish land, if you're ready to go to the most thoroughly organized Marcus Garvey Island in history, I'm going to say it again. Cuba, the island of Cuba, before Castro, before Che Guevara, before any of them, there was Garvey. And Cuba was the most thoroughly organized Marcus Garvey Island in the world. Let me say it again. Cuba was the most thoroughly organized Marcus Garvey Island in the world. So I'm going to be taking a trip to Cuba, but only for Pan-Africanists. If you're a coon, okay, or whatever else you into, you're multicultural, you're not coming. Revolutionary Pan-African nationalists only. Get ready. We going to Cuba. We're going to come back from Africa, and then we're going to do a Cuba trip, and then we're going to get ready to go back to Africa to memorialize our 400 years of ancestral suffering. 1619, 2019. If you're not African, I'm not talking to you. Get your native indigenous ass off of my live feed. I'm talking to Africans. 1619, 2019. We're going to make that pop. But getting back on the topic, Kim Kardashian found one black grandmother. Now, there's thousands of grandmothers who are black languishing in America's federal prisons and state prisons over nonviolent drug conspiracies. There's tens of thousands. Black women are the fastest growing prison population in America. So Kim Kardashian didn't decide to systematically help black women. Kim Kardashian didn't decide to do something en masse for black women. She simply found one. She simply found one. And for the record again, Queen Mother Alice Johnson, I'm glad you're free. I don't care how you got free. I don't care if you're free over Kardashian, free over Trump, free because you had an Assata Shakur prison escape. I don't care how you free. I'm happy for you now. I'm happy for your family. I want y'all to celebrate and enjoy this day. Thank God. Because in our culture, we know that we do the work, but the ultimate final judgment and result comes from Olodumare, supreme ruler of the universe, the ancestors in the Orisha. So we thank God that you are free today, not Trump and Kim Kardashian. Not Trump and Kim Kardashian. So I don't want your family in any way, Queen Mother Alice Johnson, to misinterpret anything that I say in this seminar is being indicative of you having participated in aiding and in strengthening the agenda of white supremacy. Not at all. I'm glad you are free and you have nothing to do with my commentary. I want to be clear. I want to be clear. You are in no way being indicted for what I'm going to say. They could have used another black person. It just so happened it was on your watch, and I'm glad they used you because they got you free. They had to free you to exploit your situation for personal gain. They had to free you to exploit your situation for personal gain. But the one thing I would like for Queen Mother Alice Johnson and her family to understand. This is the one thing I want you to understand, Queen Mother. You're not free because they care about you. And you're not free because you're a grandmother. I want to be very clear about this. So please don't start falling in love with Kim Kardashian. Don't start treating her like Mother Mary, the great white angel, Snow White. It's none of that shit. Okay, Queen Mother? Don't get into that intellectual fairy tale land where you start worshiping Kim Kardashian and saying she's the reason you're free. Don't get into a situation where now you want to vote for Donald Trump because he granted you clemency. We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey's prison sentence was commuted by President Calvin Coolidge in 1927. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey's prison sentence was commuted by President Calvin Coolidge in 1927, but you don't see Garveyites running around okay, worshiping and thanking and honoring Calvin Coolidge. Because we know the only reason why Calvin Coolidge commuted Garvey's sentence is because it was politically disadvantageous to keep him in prison in time for the next election. They needed Garvey freed because it would have worked against his party's election agenda. It had nothing to do with Garvey. It's simply that Mr. Garvey got his freedom because Calvin Coolidge's political party couldn't risk losing the next election if Garvey was still in jail. It's the same thing with you, Queen Mother. It's the same thing with you, Queen Mother Alice Johnson. Don't get it twisted. You are not free because they care about you, and you are not free because you are a grandmother. You are only free because your situation presented the perfect one for them to exploit for 3 reasons. Number 1, this was propaganda for the white-run feminist movement. I'm going to say it again. This was propaganda for the white-run feminist movement. I'm going to say it again. This was propaganda for the white-run feminist movement. Now, some of you are probably saying, Dr. Johnson, what in the hell does President Trump granting clemency to a black grandmother have to do with the feminist movement? I'll tell you, because you have a white woman, privileged Kim Kardashian, who all of a sudden decides that she wants to champion the case of this single black grandmother. So you have a white woman up top, a white woman from the upper echelon of society, rich white woman by way of Kanye Kardashian, but rich nonetheless. And she decides to reach down into the prison gutter, okay, into the prisons, and rescue this black elderly grandmother. Do you know what type of propaganda victory this is for feminism? Do you know how far the feminists can exploit rich white Kardashian reaching down to save poor black Alice Johnson? They're going to use this to brainwash black girls in college. They're going to use this to brainwash black girls in high school. They're going to use this to brainwash black women across the world into believing that the white woman is your ally. Feminism Y2K. Feminism Y2K. Don't be listening to no Dr. Umar. Those black men are no good for you. They're no good. You black women are raising these kids on your own. You're struggling and suffering. Never mind the white man's racism. We're not going to bring up the fact that all the problems black men suffer from were created by white men. Ignore that and just blame the victim. Ignore that and just blame the victim. See, your problem, black women, is that you need to be uniting with your white sisters. You see what Kim Kardashian just did for Alice Johnson? Did you see what Kim Kardashian just did for Alice Johnson? That's what we need. We need gender unity. We need black women to forget about black men and join ranks with your fellow white sisters. It ain't about race. It's about gender. This was a propaganda tactic to refuel and re-strengthen the feminist movement. So at a time when black people are being crushed, and at a time when black men are being crushed more than any other population in America, at a time when we black men need our sisters to stand side by side with us, they're being brainwashed, and the veil is being put right in front of their faces instead of seeing the racism at the heart of the problems that affect black men. Kim Kardashian just pulled a veil over black women's faces. And so now the black woman is saying, well, wait a minute. Maybe standing with my man and fighting against racism ain't the way to go. Maybe standing with the black man and fighting against racism is not the way to go. Maybe I should go and stand side by side with my white sisters. Never mind the fact they're just as racist as any white man. Never mind the fact the white woman has never been the black woman's friend. Never mind the fact that during slavery, it was the white woman, not the black man. Excuse me. It was the white woman, not the white man. During slavery, it was the white woman who made her husband sell your babies away because she thought that he cared more for your babies than his babies. It was the white woman who made her husband whip you until your flesh dropped into the street to prove to her that he wasn't in love with you. It was the white woman that made her white husband sell his black mistress away, thereby separating her from her children because of her jealousy for you. The white woman was the black woman's number one problem. And you come 150 years later and all of a sudden you want to unite with the same women who are responsible for supporting her man, the white man, in creating this global system of white supremacy. You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind. White supremacy is all about divide and conquer, separate and rule. White supremacy is all about divide and conquer, separate and rule. They are always looking for new ways to divide black people against black people. In slavery, it was light skin and it was dark skin. In civil rights, it was who was Muslim and who was not. You see, this is what they do. In the 70s, who was African versus Hispanic? Who's educated versus uneducated? Who's Muslim versus Christian? And now they putting the man against the woman. This was nothing. This was nothing but a white racist feminist tactic to refuel the gender war, to get black women away from black men, to get black women away from black men. And so now Kanye and Trump and Kim are saying to black women, metaphorically, not actually, what do you need black men for? A black man didn't get Alice Johnson out of jail. Kardashian did that. A black man didn't free Alice Johnson from jail, but a white woman did. A white woman got her out when no black man could. This is the rhetoric. This is the menticide. This is the psychological mind sex. The psychological mind sex that they running on black women right now. I saw right through this when I saw it. I saw right through this when I saw it. And by the way, President Trump did not pardon Alice Johnson. President Trump did not pardon her. When you pardon, you forgive the offense and the sentence. When you pardon, she was not pardoned. He granted her clemency, which means the charge remains on her record. The crime is still there. He simply decided to release her at this point in time, not speaking at all to the charge or the sentence. He's simply saying she can go home. But this is not coming off of her record. So don't go running out there getting all crazy and worshiping Donald Trump. See, this is a Jesus Mary situation we got. Kim Kardashian is Mother Mary and Donald Trump is white Jesus. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Kim Kardashian is Mother Mary the Virgin, who comes to save black folks from the devilish system of mass incarceration. And Donald Trump is the Jesus. He's the Jesus. Mother Mary influences the Jesus to liberate one of his children from the evil devil mass incarceration. This is nothing but propaganda. So now Kim Kardashian's next book, I don't know what that woman is up to, but you could best believe that this wasn't all about feminism. This was about her career. Because now black women are going to be rooting for Kim Kardashian probably louder than Michelle Obama. Y'all going to be rooting for Kim Kardashian louder than you rooted for Michelle Obama. Now, every black feminist group is going to be asking Kim Kardashian to come and speak. And can you help us get more black women out of jail? Never mind the black men. Forget about the black men. Can you help us get more black women out of jail? Because you know we got that savior complex. You know we always looking for a white savior to come help us. It's normally a man. Now it's a woman. Hence, feminism is back. It's usually a white man. Now it's a white woman. Feminism is back. It's usually a white man. Now it's a white woman. Feminism is back. So, if Kim Kardashian really claims to care about changing, because this meeting was not supposed to be about Alice Johnson. Remember, brothers and sisters, the meeting was supposed to be about prison reform. The meeting was supposed to be about reforming prison. So if the meeting, and by the way, brothers and sisters, YouTube shut me down 48 hours ago. YouTube shut me down 48 hours ago. YouTube shut me down 48 hours ago. So that means some of you brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land are going to have to take this video, share it with the world. Share it with the world. But for those of you who have monetized YouTube pages, who've been stealing my intellectual property and haven't made a donation to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy yet, I'm going to give you 2 middle fingers. For all you intellectual property thieves in YouTube land who've been stealing my shit for years and getting hundreds of thousands of likes, in many cases millions of likes, and not making a single donation with all that YouTube money you've been making off of me, 2 middle fingers to your ass. Now, getting back on topic. YouTube shut me down right after I did my special education seminar. It may have been the coons, but it could have been the school districts. It may have been the coons. Lord knows I got enough of you swinging. Lord knows I got enough of you swinging. But it could have been the school districts. In fact, I'm going to put that one on the school district because I find it odd that I don't get shut down with the Kardashian video. I didn't get shut down with the Drake video. I didn't get shut down with the Black Panther video. I didn't get shut down with the OJ video. I got shut down with the special ed video. So I think some superintendents be trolling me. Some principals be trolling me. Some special ed directors be trolling me. Some learning support teachers be trolling me. And I'm going to give that one to the miseducation machine. Could have been coons, but I think that one may have been the miseducation machine. But anyway. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. And don't worry about FDMG. I got something in the mix right now. I got something mixing for FDMG. I got something in the mix for you coons for FDMG. So you just stay tuned. It's almost Leo season. It's almost Leo season, and if everything goes my way, there will be an announcement in Leo season. And all you who have hated through the years, I better never catch your ass at my school because I'm going to pull you out by your damn neck. So you just keep on keeping on. But getting back, if this meeting was about prison reform and not one grandmother, if this meeting was about prison reform and not one grandmother, where are the notes? Where is the media summary on what came out of the meeting that President Trump plans to implement as it relates to prison reform? See, here we go again. Bait and switch. This meeting was supposed to be about prison reform. But we're not going to reform anything. So what we're going to do to make everybody forget that this was supposed to be a prison reform meeting, what we're going to do is we're going to let out one black grandmother from prison. We're not going to pardon her. We're just going to give her executive clemency. We're going to let one black grandmother out of jail, and all the coons in love with white folk will totally forget that this meeting was not supposed to be about one grandmother. We're happy she's free. We're happy she's free. Don't get it twisted. But this meeting was not supposed to be about one grandmother. This meeting was supposed to be about prison reform. So, with that being said, since this was supposed to be about prison reform, I have some questions for Mrs. Kardashian. Dr. Umar Johnson has a few questions for Mrs. Kardashian. Mrs. Kardashian, your meeting with the president was billed as a meeting to discuss prison reform. With that in mind, Mrs. Kardashian, I have a few questions for you. Number one, Mrs. Kardashian, are you aware that as of 2016, 162,000 people are serving a life sentence in these United States? Let me repeat that, Mrs. Kardashian. As of 2016, 162,000 people are serving life sentences in the United States. Of those serving life sentences, that means 1 out of every 9 prisoners in America is serving a life sentence. 1 out of every 9 people in jail will never go home. 162,000 are serving life sentences, and most of them, Mrs. Kardashian, without a possibility for parole. Most of them, Mrs. Kardashian, are without a possibility for parole. So what did you and President Trump discuss to deal specifically with the excessive amount of life sentences in this country? That's number one. What are we doing about the excessive amount of life sentences? Because you got one person out. You got one person out. And I'm not thanking you for that shit, because you only used her to rebuild your career and push the feminist movement. I'm not thanking you for that shit, because you only used our elder, Queen Mother Alice Johnson, so you can rebuild your career, get you some black female followers, and give a boost to the feminist movement. Okay? In fact, the CIA might be recruiting your ass. You might be the next face of feminism in America. Lord knows your husband ain't going to do a damn thing about it. Lord knows your husband ain't going to do a damn thing about it. But getting back on topic. In addition to the 162,000 life sentences in America, Mrs. Kardashian, in addition to the 162,000 life sentences in America, Mrs. Kardashian, there are another 44,000 people serving a virtual life sentence. And by the way, Mrs. Kardashian, virtual life means that they were not actually sentenced to life, but they will be in prison so long that they are likely to die while incarcerated. Virtual life means that I was not actually sentenced to life, but I was given a sentence which is normally 50 years or longer, which basically means I'm going to die while I am in jail. That's what we call virtual life. So if you add the 162,000 serving real life to the 44,000 serving virtual life, we now have 206,000 people, or 1 out of every 7 locked up in America, serving life. What did you and the president discuss to deal with this? Mrs. Kardashian, are you aware that life sentences in the United States have quadrupled since 1984? Are you aware that life sentences in the United States have quadrupled since 1984. And do you know the main reasons why they have quadrupled is because of nonviolent drug-related offenses, because of poor education, and because of economic marginalization. So if we know that these life sentences are a manifestation of poor education, poor economic opportunity, and nonviolent drug offenses, what did you discuss with the president to address poor schools in our neighborhood, the lack of jobs in our neighborhood, and the CIA's proliferation of dumping drugs in our neighborhood? Because don't talk to me about no prison reform. I don't want to hear anything about prison reform if you ain't dealing with poor schools, no jobs, and the excessive amount of drugs that the government brings into the black community. I'm going to say it one more time. If you ain't dealing with miseducation, economic castration, and the CIA's drug war against black America, then you ain't dealing with prison reform, because there could be no prison without those three things. There could be no prison without those three things. Remember this, and this is a direct quote from yours truly, Mrs. Kardashian. Miseducation is the mother of all crime. Economic castration is the father of all crime. Miseducation is the mother of all crime. And economic castration is the father of all crime. Mrs. Kardashian, I know that you and the president don't want to make the prison reform conversation about race. I understand that you and the president don't want to make the prison reform conversation about race, but it has to be about race. It has to be about black people. Do you want to know why, Mrs. Kardashian? The reason prison reform and its conversation must be about race is because nearly half of all life sentences in America, ma'am, 48.3, that's almost half. And we're less than a quarter of the country. Black people are less than 25% of America. We are less than a quarter pound of America. So how can a people who are less than a quarter pound of America constitute 48.3% of all life and virtual life sentences? Did you hear me, Ms. Kardashian? And that statistic comes straight from the universities. That statistic comes straight from the criminologists. Half of all life sentences in America are black people. Half of all life sentences in America are black people. Half of all life sentences in America are black people. Half of all life sentences in America are black people. So I ask you, Mrs. Kardashian, I ask you, if half of all life sentences in America are black people, how can this conversation not be about race? And if half of all the life sentences in America are black people, how did you manage to find one grandmother? If half the people serving life are black, how did you manage to find one grandmother when you have millions of black people locked down? Mrs. Kardashian, 1 out of every 5 black prisoners will never go home. 1 out of every 5 black people in jail are serving life or life without parole or virtual life. Let me say it again. 1 out of every 5 blacks in jail are serving life with parole, life without parole, or virtual life, which means they've been sentenced to 50 years or longer. What are you doing about that? What did you and the president talk about to systematically change mass incarceration in America? Because to me, this whole shit looks like a setup for feminism and to bring you and your husband's career back and to boost Donald Trump's voting and popularity amongst black people in time for the next election. Y'all use that black woman. Kim, you used Alice Johnson. That's what you did. Donald Trump, you used Alice Johnson. Y'all didn't help her. Y'all used her. Yeah, she's free. She's free. But she's free only as a byproduct of y'all using her face to push your agenda. Yes, she's free, but only as a byproduct of y'all exploiting her story to push your agenda. He needs black votes. You need black customers, and the feminist movement needs black women. I said Trump needs black women voters. You need black women customers, and the feminist movement need more black female subscribers. And that's why y'all did what y'all did. But I'm not done. I'm not done. 12,000 of the people serving life in America were sentenced as juveniles. And 2,300 of those 12,000 serving life sentenced as juveniles were sentenced to life without parole. 17,000 people are serving life convicted of nonviolent felonies like Mrs. Alice Johnson. So, Mrs. Kardashian, I have another question for you. Mrs. Kardashian, I have another question. If there are 17,000 people in America right now serving life for nonviolent felonies, mostly drugs, 17,000 people serving life in America right now for nonviolent felonies, mostly drugs, and most of them are black people because 48.3% of all life sentences are black. How did you find one black grandmother amongst 17,000? What technique, what strategy, what protocol, what methodology did you use, Mrs. Kardashian, to find one black grandmother and skip over the other 16,999 people convicted and serving life sentences for nonviolent felonies? I ask you again, how did you skip over 16,999 other people serving a life sentence for nonviolent felonies? How did you find Alice Johnson amongst 17,000 people all serving life sentences for nonviolent felonies? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And y'all get mad at me for telling the truth. Odoon Day is in Philly this Sunday. Odoon Day is in Philly this Sunday. Shout out to everybody down with the Odoon Day movement. I haven't been to Odoon Day in a very long time. Probably at least 10 years. I think my last Odoon Day, I might have still been Minister of Education for the greatest of associations. My last Odoon Day, I might have still been Minister of Education for that man's movement. That's 2005. So I think I'm going to Odoon Day Sunday. Shout out to South Philly. Shout out to Southwest Philly. I think I'm coming on out to Odoon Day. The Prince of Pan-Africanism is coming back to Odoon Day after 10 years. It's going down this Sunday. Philadelphia, Marcus Garvey's Day of Transition, the most honorable one, left us on June 10th. Odoon Day is on June 10th in South Philadelphia. Come on up, Maryland. Come on down, New York. Come on over, New Jersey. Come on by, Delaware. It's one of the largest African-centered gatherings in the United States, and it's going down this Sunday. And I'm going to be out there taking pics, shaking hands. Might catch a couple haters out there. Got to smash a few jaws. You know, we're going to do what we do. Susquehanna Avenue will be in the building. 18th Street will be in the building. 15th Street will be in the building. Ridge Avenue, Erie, EA, all day, Allegheny, Cumberland, Somerset, Lehigh. We here. We are here. I will see y'all Sunday. Brothers and sisters, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm just dropping a couple of announcements. I got a few more before I let y'all go. A few more facts to drop before I let y'all go. But the Prince of Pan-Africanism will be making his grand debut at the University of the Bahamas, Saturday, June the 30th. My first time ever in the island of the Bahamas. I will be at the University of the Bahamas, and I'm bringing the Garvey Thunder and the Shango Fire. Don't be late. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be epic. The hot summer, the hot sun, the beautiful waters, of the Bahamas, I'm going to drop one heaven of a message. And then Atlanta, Georgia, I will be in Atlanta, Georgia, Saturday, July 7th. Saturday, July 7th. Shrine of the Black Madonna, 6 p.m. Saturday, July 7th. Shrine of the Black Madonna in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, July 7th. If you need tickets, text me. I'll text you the link. You do not buy Atlanta tickets on my link. You do not buy Atlanta tickets on my link. That is the Shrine's event. It is not my event. Usually when I go to the Shrine, it is my event. But it is not my event. This is a fundraiser for the Shrine. So you buy the tickets from them. I do have the link. You have to text me. And then the very next day. And then the very next day. And then the very next day, I will be going to Montgomery, Alabama for the first time in my life. Alabama, stand up. I want to see Birmingham in the building. I can't wait to meet my Montgomery family on Sunday, July 8th. Tuskegee, Alabama will be in the building. Mobile, Alabama will be in the building. It's going down. Dothan, Alabama will be in the building. That is Sunday, July 8th, the Prince of Pan-Africanism in Montgomery for the first time. I can't wait to go. That is the city where Dr. King made his name. That is the city where Dr. King led the Montgomery bus boycott when Queen Mother, Elder Ancestor Rosa Parks decided not to stand up on that bus. And for 381 days, I said for 381 days, I said for 381 days, not a single African rode the bus. They bankrupted the city, and I'm coming for the first time because this is time for a new civil rights movement against the school to prison pipeline. And I'm the new Dr. King. It's time for a new civil rights movement. This one is called the school to prison pipeline, and I'm the new Dr. King. I said it's time for a new civil rights movement, and this one is against the school to prison pipeline, and I'm the new Dr. King. Montgomery, Alabama, Sunday, July 8th, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Doors open up at 2. If you're a vendor and you want to sell your merchandise, if you're a vendor and you want to sell your merchandise, get in contact with me. If you want to vend in Atlanta, contact the Shrine. If you want to be a vendor in Atlanta, contact the Shrine. If you want to be a vendor in Montgomery, Alabama, you contact me. And then the very next Sunday is back to Virginia. And then the very next Sunday is back to Virginia. And then the very next Sunday, July the 15th, we are in the 7 cities, the Hampton Roads. I will be in Suffolk, Virginia at Temple Bethel. Black Hebrew family is allowing Dr. Umar to come back once again. Temple Bethel, shout out to the Black Hebrews. We will be in Suffolk, Virginia on Sunday, July the 15th. Suffolk, Virginia, Sunday, July the 15th. And then Elizabeth City, North Carolina for the first time. Elizabeth City, North Carolina for the first time. On Friday night, August the 31st. On Friday night, August the 31st, the Prince of Pan-Africanism will be coming to Elizabeth City State University, Black College, Elizabeth City State University for the first time on August the 31st. And then on Sunday, September 2nd, Sunday, September 2nd, Sunday, September 2nd, Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, Durham, I'm back. Get your tickets for all of those events at drumarjohnson.eventbrite.com, drumarjohnson.eventbrite.com. And then Friday, September the 14th, for the very first time. Friday, September the 14th, for the very first time, the Prince is coming to Shreveport, Louisiana. Shreveport, Louisiana. Shout out to New Orleans. Shout out to the brothers and sisters all across Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana. I want to see the whole state of Louisiana in Shreveport on Friday, September the 14th. And then the next day, well, 2 days later, Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas on Sunday, September the 16th. You know it's going to sell out. Get your tickets ahead of time. Dallas, Texas, September the 16th, Sunday. Get your tickets at drumarjohnson.eventb.com. Let's get back. Let's get back and then let's wrap up. Kim Kardashian. I have some states here that have the highest amount of life prisoners in America. And I want to know if you and President Trump had a conversation about these states that have the highest rate of life convictions in the United States. At the top of the list, I just called the name. At the top of the list, I just called the name. At the top of the list, I just called out Shreveport, Louisiana, September the 14th. Well, guess what? The state of Louisiana has 11,238 people serving life, the most in the United States. The most in the United States. The state of Louisiana has the highest raw number of people serving life in jail. 1 in 3 prisoners in Louisiana is a lifer. 1 in 3 prisoners in Louisiana is a lifer. Almost 1/3 of everybody in jail in the state of Louisiana is a lifer. So we got to talk about this, Shreveport. When I get to Shreveport September the 14th, we going to talk about what are we doing to rescue our brothers and sisters and children and elders from the mass incarceration system of Louisiana. Next, and this is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind. Utah, the Mormon state, Utah. Utah has the second highest amount. Excuse me, not the second highest. Not the second highest. They have the second highest percentage. There's 2,000 people serving life in Utah, which represents 31% of all prisoners. And then we have California. I made a mistake. Louisiana is second to California. Louisiana has the second highest amount of lifers in America. California has the highest amount of lifers. California has 40,691 people serving life. What the hell is going on in California? Shout out to Los Angeles, you will see me. Shout out to Oakland, we working on it. Shout out to Sacramento, we working on it. Shout out to San Diego, Queen Mother Makeda, World Beat Cultural Center. Y'all will see me in 2018. Me and Kylie always get down. Shout out to Roz Bob, Sister Kim. Shout out to all my LA people. California got the most people serving life in the country. 40,691. Louisiana has the second most. 11,238. And then we go to New York. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Harlem. Shout out to Long Island. Shout out to Queens, Manhattan. Okay? New York has 9,889 lifers. 9,889 people serving life in the state of New York. And then we have Alabama. Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Sunday, July 8th. We got to have a conversation. We got to have a conversation. In Alabama, 6,104 people are lifers. 6,104 people serving life in Alabama. And then after Alabama, we go to Nevada, Las Vegas. Shout out to Black Vegas. Shout out to Black Vegas. Where my Las Vegas people at? We got any Las Vegas people in here? I'm trying to get back to Las Vegas. Can't find no venue. Las Vegas, we got 3,237 lifers in Nevada. 3,237 lifers in Nevada. And then Massachusetts. Shout out to Boston. Where my Boston family at? What's going on up in racist Massachusetts? Boston, Massachusetts, 2,038 lifers. 2,038 lifers. 2,038 lifers. And then you have Utah at the end. But Louisiana, Utah, California, Alabama, Massachusetts, Nevada. Oh, I left out one. I left out one. I left out one. Black Maryland. Shout out to Eastern Shore, Maryland. Shout out to Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to Talbot County, Maryland. Maryland has 4,158 lifers. The state of Maryland has 4,158 lifers. And what else do we know about Maryland? What else do we know about Maryland? Maryland locks up more black folks than anybody else in the country. Maryland is a small state, but as a percentage of their population, Maryland locks up more black people than any other state in America. I want to know what Kim Kardashian is doing about it. I want to know what Kim Kardashian is doing about it. I want to know what Kim Kardashian is doing about it. Now, let's look at, now those were the states with the highest amount of lifers. But now I want to give you the states with the highest amount of black lifers. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Every state I'm going to give you has at least 50% of the people doing life are black. Let me say it again. Every state that I'm about to name has at least 50% of the lifers black. So 50% of the people in these states or more, 50% or more of the people serving life are black, even though we are less than 20% in most states. We are less than 10% in many states. We are less than 15% in other states, but yet and still, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, the number of Ephah, Ashe. 16, the number of Ephah. 16 states, black people are 50% or more of the people serving life, but Kim Kardashian only managed to find one black grandmother. Listen up for your state. Here we go. Alabama. 66% of people serving life in Alabama are black. If you think I'm making this up, go do your research. If you think I'm making this up, Montgomery, Alabama, we're going to talk about school to prison pipeline for real now. Montgomery, Alabama, Sunday, July 8th, we're going to talk about school to prison pipeline for real now. Because y'all have to help me understand how Alabama has 66% of everybody on serving life is black. 66% of everybody serving life is black. More black people on serving life than anyone else in that state. Arkansas, shout out to Little Rock. Arkansas, shout out to Pine Bluff. Where my Arkansas people at? 61% of the people serving life in Arkansas are black. 66% of the people serving life in Alabama are black. Now let's go to Connecticut. Let's go to Connecticut. Let's go to Connecticut. New Haven, Hartford, Connecticut. What's going on, Connecticut? 53.6% of everybody serving life in Connecticut is black. Delaware. 62% of all lifers in Delaware are black. 62% of all lifers in Delaware are black. Florida, shout out to Miami, shout out to Fort Lauderdale, shout out to Tallahassee, Tampa, shout out to Jacksonville. 53.5% of all lifers in Florida are black. Let's go to Georgia. I'm surprised at this because guess what? Georgia has the second highest amount of black lifers. Georgia has the second highest amount of black lifers. We got Atlanta, we got Albany, we got Columbus, Georgia, we got Savannah, Georgia, and we not organizing against mass incarceration? In the state of Georgia, 70.9% of everybody on life is black. 70.9% of all Georgia lifers are black people. What's going on? Y'all told me Atlanta was the land of milk and honey. Y'all told me Atlanta was the land of milk and honey. Y'all told me Atlanta was the land of milk and honey. If Atlanta is the land of milk and honey, how in the hell does Georgia, and I understand that there's more to Georgia than Atlanta, but how do you explain 70% of everybody serving life is black in Atlanta. You're the second highest. You're the second highest in the country with black lifers. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? And then, let me get Instagram back up. Next up, Illinois, Chi-Town, Chicago, where you at? Where my Chicago people at? You know, the rise of Ifa Tunde began in Chicago. The rise of Ifa Tunde began in Chicago. In Illinois, 68% of all lifers are black in Illinois. 68% of all lifers are black in Illinois. Louisiana has the highest. Shreveport, we need a conversation. When I come to Shreveport Friday, September 14th, we got to have a real conversation. When I come to Shreveport, Louisiana on Friday, September the 14th, we need to have a real conversation. 74% of everybody serving life in Louisiana is black. 74% of everybody serving life in Louisiana is black. Don't worry, New York. You on this list. I'll get to you in a minute. Shout out to Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, hometown of Dick Gregory. Rest in peace, Baba. 51% of everybody on death row in Missouri is black. 51% of everybody on death row in Missouri is black. Don't worry, South Carolina. You on the list of 16. You made the Sweet 16. You made the Sweet 16 too, South Carolina. We'll get to you in a minute. New Jersey. New Jersey. Shout out to Newark. Shout out to Jersey City. I'm going to be coming to Jersey City for the first time ever. The Prince of Pan-Africanism will be coming to Jersey City for the first time ever. In the state of New Jersey, 62% of everybody serving life is black. In the state of New Jersey, 62% of everybody serving life is black. New York City, you made the Sweet 16. 55.8% of all lifers in New York are black. 55.8% of all lifers in the state of New York, the whole state, is black. North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, September 2nd, Elizabeth City, August 31st. We need a conversation. We need a conversation. Raleigh, North Carolina, I will be there September 2nd, Elizabeth City State University, August the 31st. We need a conversation because 60% of all lifers in New York are black. 60% of all lifers in New York are black. 60% of all lifers in North Carolina are black. New York is 55%. North Carolina, 60%. And then I got to come on home to Pennsylvania. I got to come on home to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania made the Sweet 16. Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Darby, Yeadon, Sharon Hill. Guess what? 63% of everybody serving life in Pennsylvania is black. And you thought it was just Mamiya Abu-Jamal. And you thought it was just Mamiya Abu-Jamal. And you thought it was just Mamiya Abu-Jamal. Free Mamiya. Elder, stay strong. You in our prayers. We riding with you. Shout out to Pam Africa, Ramona Africa, the Move 9. We shall still free the Move 8. We shall free all political prisoners. Shout out to Mamiya Abu-Jamal. And shout out to all the brothers and sisters across the country serving life. 63% of all lifers in PA are black. This is genocide. We not done. We got 3 more. We got 3 more. Who's the last 3 to round out the Sweet 16? South Carolina. South Carolina. 66% of all lifers in South Carolina are black. 66% of all lifers in South Carolina are black. Tennessee. Shout out to Knoxville. Shout out to Chattanooga. Still looking for a venue in Knoxville. Still looking for a venue in Memphis. University of Tennessee, 54% of all lifers are black. University of Tennessee, 54% of all lifers are black. And the last one is Virginia. When I come to Suffolk, Virginia, on Sunday, July 15th, we need a conversation. When I come to Suffolk, Virginia, on Sunday, July the 15th, we need a conversation. We need a conversation in the 7 cities. Hampton, I want to see you. Chesapeake, I want to see you. Norfolk, I want to see you. Virginia Beach, I want to see you. Newport News, I want to see you in Suffolk on Sunday, July the 15th. Because y'all got to explain to me why 62% of everybody serving life in Virginia is black. What are we doing for it? What are we doing for it? I'm going to give you the Sweet 16 again. Now, if your state was not called, it doesn't mean they don't have a lot of black folks on death row. It simply means black people are not a simple majority or more. In other words, these 16 states, in these 16 states only, black people are 50%, half or greater of the people serving life. Your state might be 49%. Your state might be, because I know Texas, I didn't mention Texas, and Texas got it bad. But believe it or not, Texas don't have 50% of black people serving life, but Texas do have more than 50% of black people on death row. See, death row is one thing. Life is something else. Kim Kardashian is dealing with life. When I did the story of OJ, I dealt with the death sentence. So y'all have to go and find somebody who stole my story of OJ off my YouTube before they shut my account down and watch the story of OJ part 1 and the story of OJ part 2. That's when I break down the statistics of black people on death row. That's the OJ seminars, death row. This is life. So they killing us a million different ways. That's death row. This is life. And there's 16 states where black people are 50% or more of those serving life. And that is Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. And that's facts. And that's facts. Brothers and sisters, if you're interested in being in my first ever Dr. Umar Johnson course of Pan-African Philosophy, Leadership Training Colloquium, if you already sent in your autobiographical letters of interest, you will begin to hear from me in the next 10 days. Okay, if you're interested in being in that class, this is a 1-year class. We will meet one Saturday every month for 12 months. The first meeting will be in Philadelphia, September 8th. Saturday, September 8th in Philadelphia will be the first meeting for the historic Dr. Umar course of Pan-African Philosophy, Leadership Training. I'm going to take all the wisdom of Pan-Africanism from myself and all of my Pan-Africanist forefathers, and I'm going to give it to you in 12 Saturdays over 12 months. 144 hours of class time, 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 12 hours straight, intense, revolutionary Pan-African nationalist curriculum and pedagogy and instruction. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The first Saturday is September 8th, Philadelphia. If you are interested in being in this course, you must email me an autobiographical letter of interest. In other words, who are you and why do you want to be in my class? Who are you and why do you want to be in my class? Email me at drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. drumarjohnson@yahoo. drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. It only needs to be one page or two is all you need. 1 or 2 pages. Who are you? Why you want to be in this class? Okay. There is a fee for the class. And you will get all of that information if you are selected. I'm getting a whole bunch of responses. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to create a waiting list. We're only having 50 students. Only 50 of you will be selected. 25 brothers, 25 sisters, 25 youth, 25 elders. Only 50 of you will be selected. 25 elders, 25 youth, 25 sisters, 25 brothers. You must be at least 18 years of age. Again, the email is drumarjohnson@yahoo. We will meet one Saturday in September the 8th in Philadelphia, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The next month, a different city, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The third month, a different city, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We will move it around to different cities based on the students in the class because I want to make it convenient. So we want to try to get around so that everybody has a chance to go to class in their city or near their city. So everyone has a chance to go to class in their city or near their city. One Saturday, 8 hours for 12 months equals 144 hours of class time. But you will have work to do outside of class. There's books you must read. There's reports you must generate. There's articles that you must review. This will be intense and you will be graded even out of class. And if you fail this class, you do not get a certificate. If you fail my class, you do not get a certificate. If you fail early on, you will be removed from the class and there are no refunds. You will take this seriously or I will kick your ass out. You will take this class seriously or I will kick your ass out. Being late too much, you're out. Missing your third miss, you're gone. Your third time you miss a class, you're out. You won't be around for the other 9 classes. I don't play when it comes to this because I know revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, Garveyism, universal African nationalism is the only solution. I already know that. So I'm not playing with this. Okay? So if you want to be interested, send your email. If you just want to come to a lecture, that's all right. That's all right. Make sure you get your tickets for Montgomery, Suffolk, Virginia. Get your tickets for Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Get your tickets for Raleigh, North Carolina. Get your tickets for Shreveport, Louisiana, and Dallas, Texas. And you can get those at drumarjohnson.eventb.com. DRUMAR Johnson.eventb, EVENTBEE. EVENTBEE, eventb.com. drumarjohnson.eventb.com. You said nobody will be left in my class if that's what it takes. If that's what it takes. If I'm halfway through the class and I ain't got no students, guess what? I'm just going to start another class. Got to get some fresh people in. Many are called, but only few are chosen. Many are called, but only few are chosen. Many are called, but only few are chosen. If any of you need to reach me, 215-989-9858, text message only. 215-989-9858, text message only. 215-989-9858, text message only. No refunds. You don't get any money back. You flunk my class, you drop out, you get kicked out, no refunds. Okay? Email address, drumarjohnson@yahoo.com if you need a one-on-one consultation with your child. If you need a one-on-one consultation for your child, you need me to look at some paperwork, you need my opinion, special ed, IEP, autism, learning disability, ADHD, whatever's going on, you can email me or text me. We can schedule that as well. There are a couple spots for Africa. There are a couple spots for Africa left. There are a couple spots. If you want to go with Dr. Umar Johnson to Egypt and Ethiopia, July 22nd to August 6th. If you want to go with the Prince of Pan-Africanism for 14 days and 14 nights. 14 days and 14 nights, Egypt and Ethiopia, the cradle of civilization, July 22nd to August the 6th. Text me and I will send you Queen Mother Sharifa's phone number so you can call her tomorrow and register. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Don't call me, text me. I don't answer the phone. If I don't know you, I don't answer. Text me. 215-989-9858. Okay? We leave and return to New York City. We fly out of New York, we fly into New York. July 22nd, August 6th, Egypt, Ethiopia, Valley of the Kings, Abu Simbel, Luxor, Cairo, Addis Ababa. We going all over the place. We going all over the place. African Union, if you've never been to the African Union building, if you've never been to the shrine of Emperor Menelik II, who I kind of look like. I look like Emperor Menelik of Ethiopia, who beat the Italians in the Battle of Adwa, 1896. East Africa, cradle of civilization. You not from Africa, but I am. You might not be from Africa, but I am. You may not be from Africa, but I am. Brothers and sisters, this is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, and I'm signing out. One love.